Hey everybody, welcome to It's Real with Jordan and Demi. In LA, I'm Jordan. In New York, it's Demi. What's going on?
What's up, you guys? We're back.
We are back. This is a new beginning for us in a way, because it's been a little bit of a time since we recorded a new show. Today, our guest is some Germans. We love Germans on the show.
Yeah.
Demi, have you ever dated a German guy before?
Bucket list for sure.
Bucket list for sure. That's on everyone's bucket list is to date a German guy. If you have to do one thing before you die, you have to date a German guy. Let me tell you.
I'm blushing.
Okay. But yeah, so our guest today is the duo Milky Chance. They have a new album out coming in June, and their new single Golden is out now. And so go and stream that after you listen to the show, of course. What's been going on in your life, Demi? You've been hanging in there.
We've been up to something.
We've
been doing crazy things.
And Demi is currently writing her next platinum single as well.
Yeah, I'm writing my next thing. Oh, yes. Oh my God, there's some tea on that. I'm writing a novel. Just kidding.
Writing a novel. All right.
Shout out to Paris Hilton's new, she has like a book out. Check that out. Here, it's good. Really random, but we love Paris. Free Paris.
Did you read a lot when you were younger? Did you ever read for pleasure, or did you only one of those people who just read when school told you to read?
I was actually the biggest fan of Matilda. So like growing up, we had like only like a few movies on, whatever, like,
yeah.
And I probably watched Matilda 1,000 times. So I wanted to be just like her. And I grew this obsession with books. So like every city I traveled in, I would always like, first thing I do is get a library card. To this day, like I had like the first time in LA, got my library card. Wasn't the first time, and I used that library card, and I owe so much money in library because What
kind of books do you read? I didn't know this part of I didn't know Demi's reading preferences. It's funny because no one really reads or talks about reading that much anymore, so I never know what people.
That's true. Right now, I'm actually reading a book by Robert Greene. He is a really dope author and philosopher. There are a few books by him. You should check it out. This is my second book by him. I don't want to tell you the titles so you guys are going to think I'm weird, but
I guess you can. Oh, Demi, here I got a weird story to share with the listeners / viewers. I was on a dating app a while ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I come across a profile. I think I told you about this, and every photo in the profile was her with Ellen DeGeneres. Like there was her and Ellen hugging, and then her and Ellen like being goofy. And last one was just her by herself, but it was from the same photo session. So I'm like, this is weird. And I showed it to a couple of friends. I'm like, what's up with this person? Because we're in LA, and when you go on dating apps in LA, it's pretty common to come across someone
not
who
for
has
nothing.
a celebrity
that's some LA
selfie.
Shit right there. That's some LA shit right there.
It is some LA shit.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is so weird. She's got photos with Ellen, whatever. And I get a text from one of my friends, and it's a link to a Instagram post from the Ellen show. And what that was for was it was her producer, and she had made a dating profile for her producer to find her a date. And it was done specifically for this bit, for this segment for the show. And so what I was seeing was a profile that was made for a little remote segment as kind of like a fun little thing for the show to have her producer find a date. So anyway, let's get back to what we're here for. Here it is, our interview with Milky Chance. Clemens got the dope hat on.
Of course.
Tell us about the fashion piece you got here. Is that a couture hat, or is that something you bought off like a street vendor? Like,
no, that's handmade.
Handmade. Wow.
Yeah.
You made
I
yourself
handmade one.
the hat?
Sorry?
You made the hat?
No. No, my girlfriend did.
Oh.
Oh, that's so cute. Does she, is it like one of her hobbies? Or like,
That's so cute.
it's cute. And where is it? I think it
No,
looks really cool. All the different colors. I don't even know how you do that. I really don't. It's
Different
Yeah, it's
colors
good.
of
I
yarn,
like
I
it.
would assume.
It's also very it's cozy. It's a good one.
Yeah. No, Clemens, we were talking about before you showed up. We were talking a lot about the music scene in Germany and like what's popular right now. Demi's been like on a German music kick for the last couple of weeks.
Bender,
Oh.
like strictly German dark wave playlists. I'm going a little.
Oh.
I don't know what they're saying, but I do like translate the lyrics sometimes, and it's always kind of like it's always dope. Like it's always poetic. You guys have
What
German,
What's on
German is a
there?
very poetic language. That's true.
What are you listening to? What's
There is this
what is
one
it?
song called Louise. Okay, I'm gonna just over the past few days. There is Steintor Herancore. What else we got? Temis. You guys know Temis? Peace. Non? No, you know Non?
No,
Blind
Yeah.
Dylan.
you're giving some bands some airtime here.
You definitely have to give us that list, though. I want to go through it. And
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
it'll turn out they're all Swedish and not. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That would be so funny though.
But guys, let's talk about go into the music more. The new album, it's out June 9th, I believe that's the correct date. When it comes to recording music, I mean, you guys famously, when you guys first started, it was very DIY. In a bedroom, in a homemade studio. Now that you have a budget, how does creating a Milky Chance album, how is it different now than it was 7-8 years ago when you guys were just really becoming big?
I mean, we have a lot more gear.
Is it quicker to record? I mean, does it take longer to record because they're just more involved?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what's the difference? Yeah, I mean, the difference for sure is that I feel it's a different way of how we approach it. Because yeah, back then our first album, it was our first album we ever recorded. So it was a lot of first times and a lot of new things and experimenting, very intuitional, not very conscious, not very like you could almost say like not much ability, which also made it though very unique, I guess, because now like it's almost like you have someone cook something without experience. It might happen that he cooks something very delicious by not knowing what he's actually doing. And that I kind of like what I feel we did.
That's I love that.
Now it's just more, like we obviously we made 3 albums. We worked with producers, with other writers. We played a lot of live music. So I guess we just developed a lot on all these levels and feel more able to actually put out what we feel or what we hear and what we imagine, which is also a good feeling, which makes the process a little bit more, feels like a craftsmanship, less of a like I'll just try it out, let's see what happens.
It's more exact now, I guess.
It's more exact, even though I still would say like a lot of great things still happen without you knowing
spontaneously.
Exactly, spontaneous.
There's still like a creativity. It's not just like, yeah, I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can kind of like purposely make something happen spontaneously without knowing what it will do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, like our approach is still very intuitionally and like, it comes very natural.
Yeah.
Like the way we work in the studio. It's like really like or just like,
A lot of ping pong.
one of us, yeah, a lot of ping pong, one of us just like playing some chords or whatever, and then, doing this, doing that, and then like, oh, this is nice. Oh, what could we do with that? So it's like not like, okay, today we're gonna work on part C of song 3, and like
That's like what the
you know,
Beatles used to do. They had like a
it's not
list
like
of like the songs
structured.
they were doing. Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
did you guys meet?
We have some like plans. Like it always sounds like we're the absolute like owners without plan. Like,
Right.
but I know what Clemens is saying. I guess you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you guys meet? And was that musical chemistry instant? Like first time you got together and messed around, was it just like, oh my God, I found my person that I want to make music with? Or was it kind of something that developed over time?
Love at first sight. Was it Walt Disney? It was very Walt Disney. No, actually, it was in high school, and the first thing really we met. We have another guy who is a really good friend, and back then, yeah, we came from all different schools. We didn't know anyone in the class. It was a music class, a music school we all have chosen to go to. So it was clear that we're gonna meet people who also like music, which is why we chose it. But yeah, it was kind of like, first day, and you look around and you kind of try to connect and see who you feel a vibe with. And Clemens, Marcus, and I immediately felt that. And the first day, yeah, after school, we went home to my house or to my mom's flat, and we jammed. And so you can say it was a pretty immediate kind of click. And since then, we really, or like the whole high school time, we jammed out every day and hang out together, and we had a pretty big community of friends and stuff. So it was a very lovely time.
Was Clemens cool? Was Philip, was Clemens, was he like a cool guy, like wearing cool clothes and all that kind of thing?
Clemens was really cool. Actually, believe it or not, Clemens was really into hip hop back then.
Oh yeah.
So first day of school, he had this like bandana, like baggy pants, gold shoes. He was pretty cool.
Was it still? It still was like, but it changed very quickly then. Yeah, but it still was like that in the beginning in high school, right? Yeah.
In the beginning, he was very hip hop, and then he like went through this phase of hippiness. He became this hippie with like kind of moccasins, tight jeans, like headband, and like dye shirts.
Damn,
teenage years.
He's calling you out. He's like giving you the whole like fashion breakdown.
What about Clemens? Tell us about your friend here. What kind of thing?
What was he? I remember. I think you were very sporty still back then, right?
Yeah,
like also like style wise, more like on the sporty side.
Yeah, something like I wasn't, or like as I remember it, I guess I was not so hardcore into one corner. I was kind of a mix of like I was wearing Vans, but then like
like indies, but not like skater, indie
little bit
skater
surfer,
vibes.
like Billabong and all that stuff. But
yeah,
something
that
like
was
that.
him. No beard.
I was kind of in that vibe too. I feel you. Clemens, you mentioned you were into hip hop. What were you listening to at the time? Do you remember like what kind of hip hop you were into?
I actually listened more to reggae back then.
Oh, okay.
I was really hip hop on the surface, but I was really reggae behind that. So I mean, I listened to hip hop as well, but like not like hardcore, But
definitely some Dr. Dre and stuff though, hey?
Yeah, sure.
Classics from back then.
Well, I listened to The Roots as well. I remember.
Classic.
I listened to oh gosh, the names.
I mean, we also like.
I'm gonna tell you in 5 minutes.
Bring it up. Yeah, when it comes back around, let us know. When it comes back,
it was also the time of like Usher and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was even before. Justin Timberlake and Usher were the first two CDs that I got. but I was 12, 13 years old back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was into that.
Back when CDs were the thing to buy.
Oh no, crazy.
Yeah.
Was there
yeah.
such thing as maxi CDs in the US as well? Like
Oh, maxi
single?
singles?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had them, but they weren't as popular. People just didn't buy singles in the US in general as much as they did in Europe and Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know what
Because
you're
it was
talking
a
about.
big thing over here. I
Oh,
remember.
really? Buying the actual CD singles?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
maxi CDs, big thing.
Yeah. Get like the 12-inch version, like the 8-minute long version of
Yeah, and you get the instrumental and like that
Yeah,
kind of stuff
yeah,
was on
yeah.
there too. Yeah.
So I Clemens, you have such a unique singing voice. Where did your vocal style come from? Did you want to sing like a specific person, a specific style, or did you always kind of sing like that when you were growing up?
No, I feel like, I mean, I was not singing. For example, like when we met in high school and we started having a band, then I just played the bass. I didn't sing at all. And then like by the end of high school, I started singing for my own, and like recording it. And I felt like, yeah, because like before I didn't feel like I was not like confident enough to. I feel like you have to be confident if you wanna like, well, find your voice, or like I mean also like record your voice. I remember the first time recording your own voice is like so weird. It sounds so weird because you only know your voice listening to it through your head, kind of like.
Right.
And she recorded and then listen to your voice for the first time. It's like, what? This is how it sounds like? That's so weird. This is not me. Is that me?
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, like we were singing in the choir. I have to mention that Philipp and I, we were in the choir in high school as well.
Wow.
I think
Did Philipp sing like an angel? Did Philipp sing like an angel?
yeah.
What did you guys do? What was Barrett's
We were-
or what were your parts?
We were both tenor.
Oh, this is
Well, to be fair, we also sometimes switched to baritone, like one below.
Yeah.
But back then we could still go pretty high, which is not so much anymore. But
Yeah.
Were you guys the type of like chorus boys that would kind of be like fucking around in the back, like, yo, like this is crazy, you know, like super airplane?
yeah.
Or you like good, like proper chorus boys?
No, we were a little bit like the clowns for sure. But to be fair, we had like pretty cool. Our teachers were pretty cool, and they knew about our, if we could say so. They knew we're able, or that we could actually sing. So the tolerance for our goofiness was there, you know, like they accepted
You
us.
kind of had a little bit of a leash because you guys,
Exactly.
when you had the talent to,
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
Well, that was nice. That was
But we wouldn't always
that
get
was
away
also like, huh?
We wouldn't always get away with that. Sometimes we were in trouble.
Yeah. But it was really cool. It was nice. I mean, also useful, you know?
Totally.
When you guys were like first getting recording stuff and messing around with different sounds and stuff, was it always sort of like let's combine electronic music and rock, or was it kind of necessity based on what you had available? Did you like know what sound you wanted for the band, or just kind of happened? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, no, it totally happened. I think it's just all a product of what we listen to, because we always listen to all kinds of music. We always we were never really like niche-y kind of people in terms of like listening to one genre or something. And I mean, it's also just, it's been the time of it's always a mirror. And like back then we liked to go out a lot and went clubbing. So electronic music was a big thing. But yeah, we also played in the band, and what we listened to was, blues and rock and R&B and jazz. And so it's just that melting pot that really was what influenced us, and so it kind of came out like that. So it was not a conscious decision at all.
Can we talk about the Trip Tape albums? Was it all one project that you released in 2 sections, or like where did that whole thing, because I love the sound of it, but it was kind of different than what you'd done before. Like where did that whole thing come from, the Trip Tape thing?
I think there was, I mean, yeah. Or do you?
You go ahead. No, you go.
Okay. I think it was the outcome of the time, like we had a lot of, well, COVID.
Sure, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
It hit. So all of a sudden we had a big break ahead of us. Lots of time. And you know, I mean, first we just enjoyed some time off, and but then started going to the studio, and then yeah, like just like diving into the creative process, and yeah, we just did a lot of music, you know, and I mean, like yeah, a whole like second half of 2020 and then 2021, we just like we wrote songs, we produced, just went to the studio on a daily, and Trip Tapes were, well, by the end of that time we had a lot of songs, lots of stuff, but we were like not like, well, are we doing an album now or not, or are we just like, we felt like we just want to share it, but also like not making like a big like it's too much of a big thing out of it.
Right.
So it was just like, you know, like the Trip Tape releases were really like, okay, we're gonna do it next week, one post, here it is, there you go.
That sounds
Listen
like
to it,
fun. That
or
sounds like that would have
not.
been fun if I was a
Yeah,
band like
it
you
was
guys that were
nice.
established
It
to do
was very
something kind of.
enjoyable. There was a lot of
Yeah, it
fun
was-
for sure.
Yeah.
It's not very free as well, you know, what Clemens said, because we had yeah, like through COVID and all that, there was lots of time of rethinking and like not much ahead, because there was a lot of uncertainty, but that uncertainty gave us a lot of freedom. And so we just, you know, had, as you say, like time of fun and like doing stuff that we just really enjoyed, and we didn't had to care much in a good way, if you know what I
Right.
mean. We could just do it.
Right. And so does the new album Living in a Haze, does it feel like more like an album compared to the Trip Tapes?
Yeah, just because also, you know, there's only originals on there.
Right. Sure.
Because on the Trip Tapes we covered a lot, we did demos, we did remixes,
Yeah.
which was a lot of fun to do, but it's
Mhm.
not like a classic album.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one feels more like an album also.
But I feel like, you know, I listened to the album preview before the show. I feel like it feels like it's an evolution. It's like related to the Trip Tape. It's not like completely like it influenced from the Trip Tape. It came out.
Absolutely. It's definitely belongs to the chapter that
Right.
we are onto with like the Trip Tapes, and it is like we're still on that path, like, and it feels like, yeah, as you said, evolution is a good word. And I think we just really wanted to share that evolution. That's, you know, what Clemens said as well, like making those Trip Tapes and like having a lot of stuff, but like not feeling like we're ready yet to put an album out, but we want to like have our fans kind of be on the same page as we are, where we are at, you know, like this is where we're at musically. We can't share an album yet, but we want you to know where we're at musically.
Right.
So like now releasing that album, it's not like, where's
It's
that?
almost like the Trip Tapes are like teasing towards the album, kind of like.
Yeah. I really love Synchronicity from the new album.
Yes.
I love the intro to it. It sounds like a 60s kind of Paisley, like sort of mod acoustic. I love that intro. Where did that do you guys listen to that kind of 60s like Donovan, sort of like early David Bowie kind of stuff? Are you guys into that kind of music?
Well, I didn't get the song. Which song?
Synchronize.
Oh,
I mean, we call it Synchronize.
Synchronized. I call it synchronicity, like the police. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's
Okay.
okay. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I meant
is
synchronized.
synchronize
My
an
bad.
actual? Is that a proper word? Did we do a mistake here?
What synchronicity?
No, synchronize. Is that like a made up thing, or is that an
No.
actual word?
That's a
No,
that's a
no.
that's a word.
That's the word.
Synchronize.
The
So
word.
like
Yeah.
synchronize and synchronicity, is it the same thing?
No, so the synchronized is the verb, meaning that I'm going to synchronize this with that.
Yeah.
Synchronicity is when something is synchronized. You're like, oh, I love this synchronicity. I love the syncness of it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How do you say synchronize in German?
Synchronisation.
Oh shit.
That sounds totally different than
But the verb is synchronisieren.
True.
So
That is the verb,
there is
yeah.
no like translation to the word synchronicity. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Anyway.
Synchronicity. Well, Synchronisation.
I mean, kind of.
Synchronisation, I would say.
kind
Yeah,
of-
what Philip said.
I'm
But,
gonna find like the actual like the words. I'm gonna put them on the screen. No, I'm just kidding. German to English. No, but I do
okay.
like that sort of dark, sort of almost like British early Rolling Stones kind of vibe to that song. And that's why I mentioned the trip tapes, because I feel like this new stuff, I actually prefer the new stuff you've been doing to like the early, like the Stolen Dance era, the Sadnecessary era. I actually prefer this kind of sound. That's another question. How do you guys feel about the stuff from like the Sadnecessary era? I know you have to play it, the fans love it, but what's your relationship with those songs now?
Oh, it's good. We're still friends.
Yeah.
It's different.
No, I think
Getting along with each other.
I think we were setting a vibe back then that still is in the DNA of our music today, which is kind of danceable, melancholic, upbeat music. But I guess the music itself, if you just look on the music and not so much the vibe, the Sadnecessary era was very one-dimensional because, as we mentioned, we were not as able to do stuff. It was our first album, so it was, very minimalistic. Only one software we used, only that certain type of sounds, only one guitar, only one. So that it was, very one-dimensional in a way. But I guess coming to now I guess we become more diverse. We can express more of our diverse universe of what we listen to and what we put out, and that feels good. And there's definitely also 60s music, or like, let's say, like what your references from, like,
Right.
this British kind of Rolling Stones era, all that is in there too. We love to listen to that. And Synchronize, like that part just like felt really good to pump up the reverb on the acoustic guitar, put some tambourine in there, and
the tambourine really makes it.
You already have that 60 vibe,
Yeah.
It goes pretty quick. So it was not even too much thinking like, oh, we want the 60s vibe. It was really just having those chords, having those melody, and then we just turned the reverb off on, and there you go.
Yeah.
Your first show in New York was a sold out show at Bowery Ballroom, right? What did it feel like when you guys like landed in New York and you go to the show in New York City and it's sold out? What was that energy like? And like, do you prefer working in the studio, or do you kind of thrive like being on stage performing live? What do you kind of like prefer?
I mean, there won't be one without the other. If you want to play live on stage, you need songs that you created before, and but I think, we enjoy playing live on stage a lot, and also like over the past Like I would say since 2016, that was like album number 2. When we became like a 4-piece on stage, we really developed as a band, as a live act, and we now feel like this is what we want to do live on stage, and also like we are able, to play it and to perform it. So I feel, yeah, there was a lot of development, like personal development as well for us, as being a live act, and we enjoy that a lot. And it's, I mean, live shows also, like, seeing other artists or like just going to a concert is it's like very
Inspiring.
it's like inspiring. It's like very nice, wholesome culture. Like it's a very nice thing that people can do.
Do you have a favorite live act? Do you have a favorite band or person you've seen live?
I think there are a couple, there's like shows that really always stick. It's not like they can be, but I feel like there's so much to like happen, like all these parameters that make a show that it is, that's very memorable, and like you just go out there and you have on so many emotional levels, you're like, oh, this was really hitting me. I had those with like, I don't know, I had that with Stromae a couple years ago. I had that with James Blake.
Did James Blake make you? That would have been a badass show. I've never seen James Blake live. That'd have been.
Oh, it's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
It hits hard. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. I
mean, it also like back then, it just really, it's that kind of music that really can drag you to the dark in a good way. But like you're in all this, you're standing with all these people, but out of a sudden you're really only with yourself.
Wow.
Which is a very powerful. But then also, like, I don't know, like other shows where Mumford & Sons, I remember we saw them live once, and they're also a very awesome band, very powerful, when like so many people sing together, which is also a very beautiful thing. So there's just, as Clemens said,
Huang Bin was also nice. That was a show we went to
would have been really cool.
Yeah,
would have been really cool.
We saw them in Berlin. Went there together.
That was pretty cool.
You guys, what's the scope on Berlin? Because the way, like, at least not just maybe Americans in general, but from my friends, they talk about Berlin being this crazy party place, like thriving club scene up till like my friend was, I had a Russian roommate. She was like, oh, you have to go to Berlin. They don't go to sleep till 2 p.m. I'm like, oh, you mean like, she's like 2. And I'm like, oh, you mean like 2 a.m.? That's kind of early. She's like, no, like you go out to party at like 2 a.m. and then you don't go home till 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Is it true?
That's an actual thing. I mean, to be fair, we did that also when we were teenagers outside of Berlin, like in our hometown. I guess it's just more of a, maybe especially Germany, but I think also European culture thing that like party can just, we party a long time. Like we start late, like we start partying. You leave at like 10 or 12 at midnight. And you start going to the bars and to the clubs, and then you just stay until, the morning, or sometimes till 2.
I went to college in Miami, and that was the closest thing to that as you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Berlin obviously has a huge scene for sure. There's clubs and stuff. To be fair, since we all have families and we're kind of living the family life, we haven't experienced too much yet.
You guys hit 30, so
we hit the 30. We have kids all around. But the good thing is, which is also a very nice thing, there's such thing like really amazing for parents. You go Sunday morning at 11 and you party hard through the day, and then you come home at like 9 or 10 and you go sleep, and then it's Monday and you can continue on.
That's a good system. I like that system.
Right?
Yeah.
100%. Speaking of 30, I find it really interesting, like the evolution, like personally for an artist, where it's like you've been probably honing in and just practicing your craft for, you know, decades at that point. And it's like, you guys ever feel almost like jaded or kind of tired of just like this constant, because being an artist really does take over your whole life. It's not a 9 to 5. Now it's this kind of like your personal life alongside being an artist as you kind of just grow up.
It's funny. I just I met a friend from Australia, Kim Churchill, who was an artist that we also toured with in Australia, and I just and we talked about it, or he talked to me about it, and was saying he always find it very inspiring because all of us in the band, we have kids and stuff, and he said he found it really inspiring to like see, like having someone living a very artistic life and like putting a lot of effort in that, but also having a life next to that with like family and like, you know, like and really balance that out well, which I took as a compliment, and which I realized, well, I guess what you're saying as well is like, like I guess for us there was always like a need, or like also just life played it that like we needed a balance to it. And I think it's also kind of how would you say it in English? In German it's befruchten, like it helps each other, like get inspiration from one to the other, and it translates really well. From family life and our personal life, we can carry a lot into our artist making, and also from there we can carry stuff into our family life. So it's a nice way of connection.
Are you guys really health nuts? Do you guys eat really healthy and like no sugar, no, like no, not really? A little kid who like got told to eat the vegetables.
Yeah, like I want my Coca-Cola.
I mean, it's really like phases, but I would like personally, I would say like especially like this year, I get more and more healthy. Of course, like I mean, I feel like my unhealthiest time is on tour.
Sure.
You know, that's where I just give a fuck a lot, which I don't like, which is not good. But no. For example, I mean, right now I'm really into intermediate fasting, for example, and I read a lot about it, and also like I talk a lot about it with other people, and it becomes more and more conscious.
What time of day do you fast? Like what's your schedule?
It's just about like not eating 16 hours. So like
I skip breakfast, for example. The first time I eat is like at 1 or 2 for lunch, and then you do like maybe you do dinner at 6 or 7, and then you don't eat till the next,
That sounds
day.
terrible. I don't want to do that.
But it is really good. It's really nice. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I can recommend it.
All right. Yeah. We'll get you out of here.
You're like, all right, I won't do it.
No, I'm good. I do skip breakfast though, which is they tell you not to do that. It's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
Not on purpose. I think people fast just like not on purpose. But yeah.
What I also think is important, or what I also try or like realize more, is like, I guess it depends on if you're typed for it, but I guess more people are typed for it than they might think, is to eat warm, like more warm meals,
Oh, that
because in Germany, for example, we have a huge bread and spread culture.
Yeah.
So I love bread, I love cheese, and that's a lot of what I eat. But it's actually, bread first of all has a lot of gluten. It's not so nice for your body, and it's also always cold. So I'm trying more to like incorporate just warm meals, like soups or just something warm, because it's actually nicer for your stomach too.
Oh, I never knew that. We're getting all sorts of like tips and tricks on
wow
lifestyle here.
Almost with Milky Chance. That's good.
Yeah,
Now you guys are going out on tour with Young the Giant this summer. Is that right?
Yes.
that's correct.
Are you guys?
True.
Are you guys friends with them or maybe
Um,
rivals? Do you?
We know each other. No, we're not rivals.
That would be hilarious.
There's
maybe we are after the tour.
right. We're somewhere in between rivals and friends.
That's a good place to be. That's where Demi and I are. Is somewhere in between rivals and friends.
No, we're not rivals, Jordan.
Yeah. But no, when you go out on tour with another band, I mean, you guys have separate buses and stuff, but do you guys hang out? Do you guys choose your tour mates based on who you're gonna go get along with versus maybe who the label wants or who's going to sell a lot of tickets?
To be fair, this is our first co-headline show, so we haven't really toured with another artist yet. But we did know that they also have families and that they bring them on tour. Since that is something we are going to do as well,
Nice.
it was kind of a conscious decision to like feel good about it, that they know the universe of touring and family and all that.
You guys are so adult. You guys are so grown up with your family on tour and everything. Yeah.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Yeah.
Podcast ready.
Have you had a chance to play? Have you had a chance to play much of the new music on the new album? Have you had a chance to play much of it live yet, or is it all brand new live?
No, haven't played anything of it. Well,
so you don't know what's an audience favorite or anything yet.
We played 2 songs of them. 2 songs from the
2
album.
songs on the last European tour.
Yeah.
The rest.
But
is
I mean, that's not much.
No, yeah. It's gonna be brand new, which is exciting. I think it's as much for us as for the fans. It's nice to have something very fresh to start a tour with, because that's always a special energy. You will always kind of like, there's a lot of excitement coming with that, and I think that's a great emotion for a tour.
Yeah.
I think it would be both thrilling and sort of scary with new music to not know which ones the audience is going to be really into and which ones they're going to sing back and all that kind of stuff. I think that'd be kind of fun. I live vicariously because I'm not a musician, so I just got to imagine.
That's true, but I also honestly have to, because we often get asked that, and I mean, I guess there's like other artists and other fans, but really, because we had moments where like we played songs that didn't work live. But first of all, we felt that as well.
GG9.
And it's never like the fans or the people are like throwing eggs or shit.
That's good. That's good when they're not throwing eggs.
People are throwing eggs.
I'm trying to say, like, there's no actual need for fear.
Right.
Like, we have very friendly fans. And generally, people are very friendly.
Yeah.
And even if a song is not working so well, besides maybe a little bit of awkwardness, which is probably healthy to experience sometimes, you get away pretty well.
You guys are woke. Shout out.
Damn.
You guys are real woke.
Oh.
Is that like Germany or like in you guys? I feel like you guys have like experience to share.
Thank you.
I am. I know you probably you get tired of playing it, but when you first start playing Stolen Dance at a show and you get that like that like crowd, they like recognize it. What's that feeling like to like know that you got this song that everyone's just gonna like sing back to you? It's like a magical power.
The superpower, the super weapon.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's a very unique situation.
You're like, we still have an ace.
Yeah.
we still have an ace. Yeah, but I mean, the whole thing about like performing and all that. It's a very gives you a lot of, what's the right word for it? I think I have it in German. but I lost it in English.
What
Oh
are you trying to
shit.
say? I can help you.
Positive Bestätigung.
Oh, dang.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I would call it. That's what I would call it. Yeah.
Well, you could say probably like positive acknowledgement.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like empowering, you know, and it's very special in a way, you know, very unique. Also, kind of, I mean, I feel like it's also like it can be very unhealthy if you start thinking or feeling like all these people coming to the show, they're like all the love they're showing you is because of you being you, which is not. It's, I mean, first of all, because of the music that we do. And I feel like it's also like very important to see that and understand that, because otherwise you just like your ego is just like getting massive and you're gonna be like crazy,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And
I think that's what Bob
but
said, and I think that's really important. I think that's what like kind of similar what Bob Marley said, is that you write a song, and once you wrote it and you released it, it's not your song anymore.
Right. It's the
You
people's
know,
song.
it's like
Yeah.
it's people take it, and whatever the song does, the song is doing it, but it has nothing to do with you anymore.
Because they don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
you as a person. To them, that's a song they remember from listening to it on a certain night with a certain person. They have a memory attached to it.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with you anymore. Like, you wrote it once, and in that moment you were together with that song, but once you released it, that song is doing its own thing, and it has nothing to do with you as a person. Then obviously
Yeah.
what Clemens says is like, if you would think that, it's a very narcissistic, not unhealthy
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
way of doing that. But
Well, we got to let you go, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time and I
Thank you.
appreciate the flexibility of changing rooms and adjusting your audio and getting it right. And Clemens' dope ass hat. I appreciate all of it.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Good luck
having
on
us.
the tour. The new album out June 9th, Living in a Haze. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you guys.
Thanks so much
Thanks for having us.
All
That's
right.
really nice.
Take care. Stay healthy.
We'll try.
Well,
We'll try.
man.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
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 Movies.
All right, guys. That was Milky Chance, new album out June 9th.
I'm kind of into those accents and that language, how that sounds, Jordan. How are you?
Yeah, you're a world traveler more than I am. Have you ever had a crush on a German guy before? Just in general?
Honestly, I have not. But now
It's time to start.
you know what? Let's go.
Yeah. I'm sure there's German guys around. So dead ass, I went to college with these German guys, and we would go out and party or whatever. And then they would get a case of beer at like 3 a.m. and drink it from like 3 to 6 a.m. or something. Yeah, it was those guys know how to do it. Those guys know. All right. That will be it for us. As always, go to popdust.com for the latest in pop culture and music news. Follow me on Instagram at Jordan Edwards Studio. Follow Demi on Instagram at Demi_Ramos. Check out our content, all our interviews on Popdust, all my photos. Demi, the Demi Ramos show, when she's actually in person talking to someone on a couch. Demi, what's going on in your life? I know you've got a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot going on. I'm running late again to a casting. But
Running late, so we need to end this. Let's end it right now. You got any special message for the people before you leave?
Special message is every single day is an opportunity to start over. So fucking go out there and live your dream. Let's go.
Yes.
Wow.
If you want to leave your family, leave your wife, and become an actor in Hollywood, do it. No, just kidding.
No, Jordan.
I know it's not you.
Delinquent. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Demi. It's good to see you. Hopefully we'll be in the same city soon. All right. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.